The PlayStation 5 is coming out very, very soon. Who's excited for the big PS5? Because this will be such a big upgrade from the PS4. The biggest console leap in terms of graphics and power yet. Now, unfortunately, it won't be out in 2019, just in 2020, but Sony has revealed pretty much all the specs of the PS5, so we now know all the major details aside from what games it will come with at launch, and also how it will look like, so the design. But aside from those two things, we now know every single thing in terms of the PS5, and all these have been officially confirmed by Sony. So yeah, get that popcorn ready, and here's everything that Sony has revealed in terms of the PS5. But what's even better than the PS5 is our brand new store. Go to sonoftech.com/store to buy some of the devices that we actually featured on the channel and no longer need. So we have smartphones, laptops, camera gear, audio equipment, and more. So yeah, go to sonoftech.com/store to check it out, and let me know in the comments what you guys think of the new store. We'll have some more stuff there in the upcoming days. So yeah, now let's talk about the PS5. Okay, so Sony has recently had a conference with their investors, and they revealed some more details about a PS5. So first of all, we knew that a PS5 would actually come with an SSD by default rather than a hard drive. Sony has already confirmed this a few weeks ago, but we didn't know exactly how much faster it would be compared to, let's say, something like a PS4 Pro. So loading the new Spider-Man game took the PS5 only 0.83 seconds. That's crazy, but what's even crazier is that the same game took the PS4 Pro 8 seconds. So there you go, that's insane. That's a massive 10 times increase in loading times, or decrease, over the PS4 Pro. So really impressive so far. And then next up, Sony also demoed the graphical performance of the PS5 a bit. So in combination with the SSD, we had the same game running, so Spider-Man, and they tried flying through the environment as fast as they could. And the PS4 Pro froze after just a few seconds because it couldn't process the 3D scene that fast. However, the PS5 was buttery smooth, just buttery smooth up until the end, and it seems like the frame rate was much higher as well. So far, so good. Really good. However, the next leak is even bigger than this. In the exact same presentation to the investors, Sony has talked about the importance of the PS4, how it will remain the engine of engagement and profitability for the next 3 years. And this is a very important finding. It means that Sony will not discontinue the PS4 after the PS5's launch, but instead it will continue to sell it alongside the PS5 and even release some AAA games, such as Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, those three seem to be the last AAA games made exclusively for the PS4. And then also, take a look at how Sony has said that the PS4 would be the engine of profitability for the next 3 years. So this to me means that Sony will actually be manufacturing and selling the PS5 at a loss, which is great news for consumers since, it means that a PS5 will be priced at a fairly low cost compared to the components that it will be packing. And speaking of these components, in this very same presentation, Sony has revealed quite a few more details about a PS5. So they were referring to this as the next gen rather than the PS5, but I mean, we all know that this is essentially the PS5. And these are the features that they confirmed again. So all new CPU and GPU, this is the first one. And yes, the PS5 will include an 8-core, 7nm AMD Ryzen 3 processor with 16 threads, and also a constant clock speed of at least 3.2 GHz on all the cores. So yeah, this is really impressive, especially since, the CPU has always been the main downside of the consoles of this generation, even the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. It seems like the PS5 will finally be more powerful CPU-wise than even the average PC. Now, regarding the GPU, we know that this will be an AMD GPU based on the new Navy architecture, or Navi, however we pronounce that. But this one hasn't been released just yet. So it has been announced, but it's not official just yet from AMD. But it would feature the PS5 between 12 and 14 teraflops of GPU compute power. Now, just to give you guys an idea, this would be very similar to the Radeon RX Vega 64, which actually offers up to 13.7 teraflops of GPU compute power. So yes, that's looking like an insane upgrade over the 4.2 teraflops that the PS4 Pro had, so that's a 33 times increase in GPU compute power over the PS4 Pro. And yes, 7.77 times the GPU compute power of the original PS4. And with this immense increase in power, the PS5 will actually be able to deliver graphics in up to 8K. Yes, Sony has confirmed that a PS5 will support 8K resolutions, which is really incredible and overkill at the moment. I mean, even today, gaming in 8K is almost impossible. It's really difficult to do. You need something like 2 RTX's 20 Ti's in SLI to be able to do so, which are extremely expensive. And yes, you'll also need an 8K monitor, obviously, which are even more expensive than that. And, aside from Dell's 8K monitor, there's not that many options to choose from at the moment. But 8K TVs will be launching soon, so Samsung has already revealed an 8K TV, which you can actually buy already starting from £5,000. But yeah, 8K TVs and displays will become more mainstream in the next few years. So, at least the PS5 will be future-proof in this regard. And the reason why I'm saying that the PS5 will be the biggest leap in graphical performance from the previous generation in a console ever, aside from the Xbox 2, that's also going to be really similar to the PS5, more about that later. The reason why I'm saying that is, if you take a look at the PS4, for example, when it launched back in 2013, 4K monitors have just started to appear on the market, and they were really expensive, and, a lot of people owned them, pretty much the same thing as with 8K today. But interesting enough, the PS4 did not support 4K resolution output. Only the PS4 Pro, which launched 3 years later, featured support for 4K displays. So this shows just how much more powerful the PS5 is compared to the power of the PS4 that it had at launch. Okay, so 8K is cool. It's great for future-proofing, but what about 4K? Well, we haven't really had any news regarding 4K and what frame rates until now. So just last week, Sony's Interactive Entertainment CEO, Jim Ryan, has confirmed that the PS5 will actually support 4K games at 120 Hz. That's probably the best news yet, even better than 8K, because like I said, not a lot of people have 8K displays or 8K monitors, but today quite a lot of people do have 4K TVs. So 4K 120, that's really impressive. This is actually insane when you realize that a PS4 Pro cannot even do 4K 60 or even 4K 30 natively. Yes, in a lot of cases, it was just Quad HD upscaled via checkerboard rendering, but the PS5 is set to support 4K at 120. 120 frames per second in 4K. Now, Sony hasn't said if this would be native 4K at 120 or via checkerboarded rendering again, but considering that the Xbox One X that has 6 teraflops of GPU compute power can actually do native 4K 30 in most games and 4K 60 in some games with dynamic resolution, the 14 teraflop PS5 should easily be able to do at least native 4K 60. And native 4K 60 at maxed out settings is something that's even difficult to do today on a PC. So you need the highest end graphics card, such as an RTX 2080 Ti, and 4K 60 on maxed out settings won't even work in every single game. So yeah, I'm really excited for the PS5 because of this. Now realistically, I do think that Sony has some sort of hardware chip specifically designed for delivering these frame rates included, obviously, in the PS5. This is similar to the checkerboarded rendering hardware chip that they had in the PS4 Pro, so obviously that's still going to be included, but this would be something separate that I think that Sony would add just for delivering those frame rates. I do believe that this might just be based on frame blending, so this is similar to what TVs do today with that fluid motion technology that Sony TVs have, or even Samsung and LG, pretty much all the major manufacturers. But what's probably even better is that Jim Ryan has also confirmed that game saves would actually be compatible between the PS4 and the PS5. So yeah, once you get a PS5, you'll just be able to transfer all of your data, load the exact same save from a PS4, and play your games in a much higher resolution at a much higher frame rate. So yeah, pretty much the same thing as if you were buying a new graphics card for your PC. Now, Sony has also said that they will be taking PlayStation Now to the next level, which was a bit interesting. You see, PlayStation Now is Sony's game streaming service for the PS3. Yes, so if you have a PS4, you can play some classic PS3 games and even some PS2 games. You can do that with PlayStation Now. It works on PC as well, so on Windows, and all you need is just a 5 megabits per second connection or higher. Now, Sony did say that they do plan on expanding PlayStation Now even further so that you could play the most modern PS4 games at even higher resolutions than 1080p, so even 4K via streaming. And the biggest surprise here was that Sony has actually made a partnership with Microsoft. Yes, Microsoft, the maker of, the Xbox, Sony's arch enemy. Yeah, they made a partnership on developing their cloud infrastructure. Yes, this was very surprising and unexpected, making a deal with the enemy in order to, well, defeat an even bigger enemy. And that bigger enemy is actually Google. And that's because Google has announced their own gaming console, kinda, so it's a cloud game streaming service called STADIA, and it's very unique. It's unique because, it's scalable, which none of the PS5 or, the Xbox 2 would be. So if developers, for example, need more compute power and more storage, they can just access it. It's basically a server-based console. And yes, this is huge versus a classic console that only offers a fixed amount of performance and storage. And, even now when it comes to Sony's own PlayStation Now servers, Sony's using a motherboard that actually contains the equivalent of 8 PS3s. and they have multiple racks of these. So yeah, long story short, they're very, very, very limited in terms of power and what they can offer, whereas Google is just on a completely different level. And Microsoft is also on another level when compared to Sony. So they've recently announced their xCloud platform, which will let you stream more than 3,500 games on Xbox, PC, as well as mobile. And then another big thing that Sony has confirmed is full support for PS4 games. So yes, you'll be able to play any PS4 game that you own on the PS5 and load any of the previous save games like I mentioned before on your PS5, which is really, really awesome. You know, if you don't want to buy any PS5 games, you can just get a PS5 and play all of your old PS4 games just in higher quality. And then, interesting enough, Sony has also confirmed that the PS5 would support ray tracing, which is huge. So this is something that NVIDIA has implemented into their GPUs first with the RTX series in 2018, and now we have it on AMD hardware as well. We have indeed seen a demo of ray tracing running on a Vega 56 before, so AMD is working on maybe even enabling real-time ray tracing support on the Vega series of their GPUs in the near future. Now, in case you don't know what ray tracing means or is, it's when every single ray of light coming from a light source bounces off of the environment, and every bounce is actually calculated and displayed in the scene. So, you know, pretty much as in real life. So this is something that's extremely difficult to do from a computational standpoint, especially when you enter an enclosed environment such as a room, a small room. Yeah, in that case, it's basically a murder of your GPU. And the PS5 supporting real-time ray tracing is huge. So I cannot wait to see this in action. And then there are two more things that Sony has confirmed in terms of the PS5. So the first one would be support for physical discs. So even though a large part of the games sold today are now digital downloads, discs are still good for the fact that you own all the games. So, you know, you could sell them when you want to, if you choose to do so. And digital downloads also take a ton of space, which can be avoided by using discs. And then the last thing that Sony has confirmed is a pretty big one as well, and that is 3D audio. So apparently the PS5 would have a dedicated chip that would give you 360-degree audio, and Mark Cerny, the lead architect for the PS5, stated that you would feel way more immersed in the game since the audio would be coming from above, behind, and from your side. Now, the thing that I find really, really weird about this is that Sony already sells the Sony PlayStation Platinum wireless headsets, which I actually own. I own a pair of that, and they do have 7.1 surround sound inside, and they do offer 3D audio. So the PlayStation 4 Pro already has 3D audio for these specific headphones, and honestly, you know, they do sound amazing, they sound incredible, and I'm not really sure how this could be any different on the PS5. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying this out. And finally, while Sony has confirmed that a PS5 will support a PSVR, they also confirmed that a PS5 will not launch with a brand new PSVR. So they are working on a new PS5 VR, so Sony has a few patents on this, but it won't be launching alongside a PS5, just so that Sony doesn't confuse the consumer with too many products. So I'm really excited and really looking forward to the PS5. And speaking of the next generation of consoles, the new Xbox has also been announced, literally yesterday, or, you know, a few days ago, depending on when you're watching this video. But yes, the new Xbox is now official, and the specs are pretty much identical to the PS5. So yeah, a video on that, a separate video on that coming soon. So definitely subscribe, notifications if you want to see a video on that as well, and more in-depth tech videos like this one. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about the PS5? Do you think this will be a major generational leap like, you know, we all hoped for? Or do you think it's just going to be, you know, a PS4 Pro just with 8K support that no one would really use because no one really has 8K TVs? Don't forget to check out our store, zonofTech.com/store, for some actual tech content, you know, devices, not just merch. I mean, not merch, we don't really have any merch yet. But yeah, actual devices, and yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys think about that store. Yeah, thank you for watching, I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. ZonofTech, signing out. Cheers.